Okay. Composition of functions. This can be a weird one at first. Till we get some examples down, then hopefully it will start making more sense. All right, so let's start with the definition and what, and then I'll get into some simple examples, and then from those we'll get into what the actual examples look like. So the composition of F and G is denoted by, all right, so F and G here are just two different functions, and we're going to interrelate the two somehow. All right, so it's denoted by F, and this is kind of weird, so watch me, of G of X. All right, so it looks like the word fog. This is just a little open circle. So it's not an actual O, but it kind of looks like fog. F of G of X is how you say that. That's equal to, so this simplifies to F of G of X. All right, essentially what's happening here is you're plugging G of X into the F function. All right, and I'm going to show some side examples over here to hopefully make this a little bit easier when we get to it. So let's look at the function. Let's say we have F of X, and this is just side notes. This is to prepare your mind and to get in the habit of what we're about to start doing. So if we can get this part down, then then this section is going to be easier. Let's say we have this function F of X is equal to X squared plus 3X minus 2. And all I'm going to do is just start plugging in some random letters and numbers in here to start. And then I'm going to change it up a bit. So let's say I want to know what F of A is. So tell me what that's wanting us to do. Tell me what that's saying. That's saying take the F function and plug A into it. So everywhere there's an X now, I'm just replacing with A. So I get A squared plus 3A minus 2. So far, so good. All right, let's try one more like that. Let's say F of Z. What is that telling you to do? That's telling you to take the F function and plug Z into it. So, okay, the letter Z, we're just now going to replace all these X's with Z's. So Z squared plus 3Z minus 2. All right, let's turn it up a little bit. Let's try a little bit harder one. So let's try F of, now instead of A, let's try A plus H. So now we're adding two things together inside of that parenthesis there. And now tell me what this is saying. It's saying the same thing it did when we were plugging in A and Z. It's saying use the F function and plug whatever's inside of here into that function. So we have F, and I want you to plug in A plus H. Pause it and try it and see what you think. See if you can do it. All right. So now I'm taking this A plus H and I'm plugging in everywhere there's an X here. So now this X becomes A plus H, and then that's squared. And then this plus 3X, this X now is A plus H. Then the minus 2 you can't forget about. So now let's start. We're plugging this A plus H into the F function. So A plus H squared. So I'll get A plus H squared. It's important that it's in parentheses and it's squared. Then plus 3X. I know that X is A plus H now, so plus 3 A plus H. And then that minus 2 is still out there. All right, just take your time, work through it, try a couple of these. Once we get the hang of this, then this over here will be a little easier to understand. What about this one? What about f of x squared plus 3x? All right, works the same exact way as we did previously. That's telling me I'm using the f function and I'm plugging in x squared plus 3x everywhere there's an x. So now this x squared plus 3x is replacing all these x's now. So this x becomes x squared plus 3x squared plus 3 times x, but that x now is x squared plus 3x. So I take this and I plug it in everywhere there's an x here now. So let's start. So I get x squared, but that x now is x squared plus 3x, and all of that is squared. So this x became this thing. All right, and then now plus 3x, but that x is now this, so plus 3x, but now my x is this, so x squared plus 3x, and then that minus 2 is on the outside. All right, hopefully we're getting the hang of that. Now let's look at an example of how to work one of these. I'll leave this up as long as I can so I can reference back hopefully, but I'm not sure that I'll have room. We'll see. Example 1. Given f of x equals 3x minus 4 and g of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 6, find the following. I'm just going to say find, and here's part A. So I want to find f of g of x. All right, what's the first step here? Look back to the definition we just wrote. We said that f of g of x is equal to f of g of x. All right, so that's some progress there. Now let's look at this, and what else do we know? Do we know what g of x is? This portion inside here? Do we know what g of x is? Yes, it's given to us right here. It tells us g of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 6. So we're going to replace that now. So this g of x becomes that. So you get f, and now g of x becomes this thing. X squared minus 2x plus 6. Those are equal to each other. All right. Now, tell me what this is asking us to do. This step right here is exactly the same thing that we were doing over here. This is telling me that I'm using the f function now, and I'm plugging this thing in there for all the x's. So here's my f function, and if it helps, write the function right above it. So we have f of x is equal to 3x minus 4. You'll eventually get to the point where you won't need to write that every time. But for right now, we can do it. That's fine. So now I'm using the f function, and then I had an x in here. Now that x is this, so now I need to replace these x's with this right here. All right? So this is equal to 3 times x, but x is now this whole thing. And I'm going to have to erase some of these. So 3 times x, which is x squared minus 2x plus 6. And then don't forget this minus 4. So same exact thing we were just doing over here. And now we want to just continue simplifying. So 3 times this whole thing means I need to distribute that 3. So 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. Let me draw it out here. 3 times negative 2x is negative 6x. And 3 times 6 is 8 plus 18. And then that minus 4 is still out there. And then just combining like terms, 18 minus 4, and then we're done. And that would be your answer here. All right, let's try one more. This is going to be part B. Let's switch it up. G of f of x. So all I did was switch 2 letters around, or the 2 functions, who's going where. So try to work it yourself. Pause the video and give it a try. You may get stuck once you try to start simplifying. That's okay. Come back and watch me. This is equal to g of f of x, following the formula, the definition that we went over at the beginning. So now, do I know what f of x is? Yes, it's this thing here. So this is equal to g of 3x minus 4. F of x is equal to 3x minus 4. F of x is equal to 3x minus 4. All right, now what is this telling me to do? Telling the same thing as the examples at the beginning. It's telling me to use the g function and to plug this into the g function everywhere there's an x. If it helps, I'm going to do this one more time. Write the function above it. G of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 6. All right. So now everywhere there's an x, I'm just going to write 3x minus 4 below it down here. So 3x minus 4 squared minus 2x minus 2 times 3x minus 4, and then plus 6 on the outside. Can't forget the lonely 6. It's easy to forget that 6 out there. Now here's where a vast majority of you may have stumbled some. And the stumble probably came here. And if it did, that's okay. It's a good review, and you do need to know how to do this. So 3x minus 4 squared, what is that telling me to do? That's saying to multiply 3x minus 4 times itself twice, 2 times. So I get, I need to write down here below it, sorry. 3x minus 4 times 3x minus 4. So you're multiplying these 2 things together. Now you have to take each term on the left here and multiply it to each term over there. And it's easy. It's simple. You just have to practice at it and work at it. So take this first one, the 3x, and you want to multiply it to the 3x over here and the minus 4. And that's it. Then you move on to this minus 4 and you multiply it to each term over here. So you multiply the minus 4 to the 3x and the minus 4 to the minus 4. So it's 4 multiplications. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 4 is minus 12x. Then we're done with this 3x, so we move on to this term. Minus 4 times 3x is minus 12x. Minus 4 times minus 4 is plus 16. That's equal to, combining like terms, 9x squared plus minus 24x plus 16. So this is what gets replaced with this thing here, just this small portion. So this 3x minus 4 squared, we started here, we worked down to get to this. So that's what we replace over here. 9x squared minus 24x plus 16. All right, let's just to keep things straight, we can do something like that. And then, can you pause it and finish it? Give it a try and see what you get. So we need to distribute this -2 into here. The negative is an easy step to miss. So the -2 times 3x is a minus 6x. -2 times -4 is a plus 8. And don't forget about your 6. Now we combine like terms. Not x squared, this is only x squared, so there's nothing to combine. It just stays the same. Now let's move on to the x's. Minus 24x and a minus 6 gives me minus 30x. And then 16 and an 8 and a 6, that makes plus 30. So that would be your answer.